Hey there, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime. I'm Robin Grace. This is Adam Diaz. It's been a while.
Woo! I thought you used to say Storytime with the Scarish podcast.
Oh yeah, we are the Scarish podcast. It's us. We do this.
What up? It's been a minute since we've done a Storytime episode for sure. So excited to do it. For those of you who decided to start the Storytime series at episode 193, first of all, bold choice. I appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to read 4 homegrown horrors, which are stories that have been sent to us by the wonderful listeners of this podcast.
And one of which was literally sent to us in the mail.
Handwritten.
It's colorful, adorable.
It's taken too long for us to get to it. I am very happy we finally get to. That said, this is the last time we will record in the house we've been in since we started Scarish. We are face-to-face right now because tomorrow at 5:30 in the morning begins a drive out to the new home that we will be inhabiting. So pretty exciting. I also will say this office is almost completely empty. So if it sounds a little echoey, it's because we're recording with 2 microphones on a fucking TV tray, like way back in the Nerd Chill days.
And if you hear weird sounds, we also have 2 dogs in here.
Yes, our dogs are in the room with us because our bedroom has no bed, no dog bed, nothing for them to sleep on. They're going to be staying in the guest room with us tonight, but we didn't want to leave them out in a house that's basically barren of everything they know. So everyone say hello to Namiria, our Shiba Inu, and Anya, our Corgi, who are just chilling in the room with us. But yeah, we're going to do 4 homegrown horrors. Pretty excited.
All right, yeah.
Going to start out with this handwritten one.
Yeah, I'm going to read this handwritten one. The handwriting, impeccable, gorgeous, love it. They sent it to us back in May of this year, so...
We probably didn't get it out of the mailbox until June. Let's be honest about it. It takes us a minute to get to the P.O. box, and it's December and we're reading it, and we hope in the future, like in January, to start back up Storytime, maybe for a limited time run. We'll see how many emails we have to go off of. But yeah, should be a fun time. And thank you so much for whoever wants to write a handwritten letter. First of all, you're amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that someone wrote it to us is just so touching. So, all right, I'll shut up. Let's read this.
All right. So it begins. Hello to the both of you.
Hello.
Hello. And hello to all the spooky friends too. My name is Ridley. She, her. Thank you.
Hello, Ridley.
I am a huge fan. Oh, I hope you're still listening, Ridley, if you're out there. I have been listening to the podcast since the beginning.
Wow.
I have never written in, as I don't think people will find my stories very interesting, but alas, here it is. I live in Ohio.
Shout out to Ohio.
Shout out to Ohio.
Everyone in Ohio's like, woot woot.
Before I moved over here, I never knew that it was a big spot for UFO sightings. A few months after I moved in with my boyfriend, he was coming home from work at night. We live in the middle of nowhere in the country. Not a lot of streetlights. We're surrounded by cornfields already. This is like the beginning of Signs or something with all the corn.
As soon as you hear corn, you think Signs. Well, also UFO stuff, so.
Yeah. He turned into our neighborhood and saw a red light coming across the field toward him very quickly. No machinery was out in the field. Oliver, my boyfriend, said whatever it was triggered his fight or flight response, so he sped home. It's been 2 years since then, and a lot of other crap has happened, but the other day, I was taking our dogs out to potty. Out of our side yard, I can see very clearly into my neighbor's backyard. There was a green ball of light hovering above a small tree in their backyard. At first, I thought it was a laser light, but 2 things make me think it wasn't. For how big the ball was and how vivid it was, it would have had to be a strong laser. Hold on, I gotta flip the page.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do quotation marks like Dr. Evil.
Laser. Strong lasers have a line from the source to the end. This one did not. The second reason is because if a laser is hitting a surface, you can see all the details of the surface that is illuminated by that light. This was just in the air. Suddenly, it shot upward and disappeared. It triggered my flight or fight response. I mix those words up.
I think you can go either or.
Okay. And ran inside with my dogs. This all happened within just a couple seconds. We've seen other creepy things in the fields, but those are for another time.
Oh, shit.
Goodbye, Ridley.
Ridley, thank you so much for writing in Those stories are fantastic. I thought they were super interesting. We can't wait to hear from you again.
Love hearing about UFOs and stuff and aliens, things like that. And if you've been around, you know, Adam also has done a few topics about UFOs.
Just a few.
And it really is something like out of an alien horror movie, right? Where it's like strange things happen in the fields.
UFOs in particular have this feeling to them, regardless of if they're extraterrestrial or just like some sort of like military craft that you're like witnessing that you don't know you're supposed to be seeing. It just always feel like, oh, I shouldn't be seeing this. And regardless of like where your mind goes to, like secret government project or like little green men, it's always a really creepy feeling.
Yep.
So yeah, I always love to hear about them. And of course, because people obviously made it out okay.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, good. I'm glad
nothing bad happened in this, so it's
exactly. So good stuff. Thank you for sending that in. We love extraterrestrial stuff.
And we love handwritten letters. It's so cool.
I think it might be the first one we've ever gotten. We've gotten letters from people,
cards
but
and notes and letters. But yeah, no stories have ever been written to us via mail.
So thank you so much, Ridley. We really, really appreciate it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next story we have here. And this one's subject is So Many Stories, So Little Time, Part 3.
Ooh.
Pretty good. This one is from Jessica, and it says, hello, Spooky Fam.
Hello.
Hello.
We're part of the Spooky Fam.
Everyone has to say hello. You don't have to say it like me, but you do have to say hello.
Someone out there is like, hello, governor.
Hello, governor. This is totally cool to share on the podcast. In fact, I really hope you do. This one's actually from August, so that's how big of a time jump it is from when this handwritten one was to us getting it into the queue, because this went into the queue in August. Okay, that said, we're going to keep going here. In fact, I really hope you do. Coming to you guys again from work. This counts as work because I'm typing on my laptop. At least that's what I'm telling myself. Your episode 235 about the Hellhounds triggered some memories that I thought I would share. The first one's called Family History. My aunt, or aunt, depending on how you say that, was a seriously rebellious and hateful teen. She would fight with my great-grandmother, saying the worst things. Now, where they lived, it was in a tiny, tiny town on the corner of their street. Catty Corner was a big field, and then past that was the cemetery. After one of her big blowouts with my grandma, she stormed out and started to walk across the field. It immediately makes me think of the previous story where it's like, don't go across that field, there's glowing lights.
There's aliens in that field. Don't go into that field.
As she's walking, she notices something heavy breathing behind her.
It's an alien.
She stops.
Wait, do aliens breathe?
It stops. Of course they breathe. She starts walking again, and she can hear it again. She stops. It stops. When she starts again, she can now feel hot
breath
no,
that's so
on
scary.
her neck.
That's really scary.
She acts like she's looking around, and out of her peripheral, she sees a huge black dog. Understand, this dog on all fours is as tall as she is standing straight up. She said it had its mouth open and it was panting. That's what she had felt. She said it did have red eyes and its mouth was slobbery. Not foamy like rabies, but just like its mouth was watering.
I'm imagining that dog from Harry Potter. Fluffy.
Really?
Just
That's hilarious.
drooling.
Needless to say, she circled around home and apologized to my great-grandma. All right, we're going to move on to the next one that's called Black Dog Crossing. It says, when I was younger, I used to go to dances like all over. I lived in a small town surrounded by small towns, so it was no biggie to travel 30 minutes to another town for a fun night. Cut to the end of a fun night, not even sure what time it is. I do remember it was crazy bright, so I know it was a full moon. In hindsight, this makes it even worse.
How old? I was wondering, like, at what age they're going out to these different towns to have a good time.
Anytime I read something that says, like, oh, I went out dancing, I immediately think of Footloose. And it's just like, you gotta dance to save the town.
What? Okay, I've never seen Footloose.
Clearly, we have to watch Footloose.
Okay. How do you save a town with dancing?
Well, the town was, like, dancing was forbidden.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Goes on to say, anywho, like they knew we were going to tangent, driving down the highway way too fast. Oh no. I remember laughing and talking shit 1 second to sitting straight up the next. My friend never let up on the gas, but there was a big black dog crossing the street at his own leisure. Totally unbothered. We passed just as he sat down and watched us as we passed. Stunned, I'm just frozen, but when I look in the rearview mirror, This thing walked back in the middle of the road and continued to watch us until I looked away.
What the heck?
That's creepy as hell. Plus, it makes me sad because dogs should not be in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. This one's called He Tricked Me. My pup, his name is Kol, K-O-L, like from the originals. Did I say that right? If it's one of the characters from the originals?
Cole?
K-O-L? It's Cole. Okay, I guess. His name is Cole. Anywho, he likes to lay down between the bed and the wall, and when he stretches out, his nails kind of scratch the wall. So one day I came out of my bathroom after a shower and kind of lounged on my bed. But I hear scratching and thought he was laying there. Also, I was fully dressed, just FYI. Okay.
Okay.
I'm glad that she ruined the headcanon for anyone who was just like being a perv out there.
BT dubs, I wasn't naked.
So I start talking to him, and suddenly my girls run into the room, their eyes huge and teary. I ask them what the Shrek is wrong. They busted in my room all freaked out, and now I'm freaked out. They tell me, Mom, Cole is in our room. All the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I laughed and said, yeah, right. They go, no, Mom, legit. We stared at him to make sure we weren't tripping. I called Cole to me, and yup, he came in from the hallway. Needless to say, I did not look over the bed to see what had made that noise.
Oh my God.
I want to end this.
Oh my God. It's like that story where it's like, humans can lick too, or whatever. Have you ever heard that one?
No.
It's like,
That's the weirdest tagline of a story I've ever heard. Humans can
it's like
lick
a
too.
creepypasta where they're laying on their bed, right? And they put their hand off the side of their bed and they think it's their puppy that's licking their hand.
Ugh.
And they wake up in the morning. And the puppy has been murdered. And
I hate this story.
Yeah. And then
It's a horrible story.
And there's somebody who like wrote on the wall or something that humans can lick too.
Yeah, well, that's a horrible creepypasta. So
Yeah.
Thank you for ruining this entire thing for me. All right. It goes on to say, I want to end this already long email on a happy note and to honor Huey and my pup that I lost, Harley.
Aw.
I was going in for surgery sometime last year and I was crazy scared. I suffer from white coat syndrome.
I have never heard of that.
I've never heard of that either. We'll have to look it up. I was talking about this fear with a friend of mine. She was relaying a terrifying story of how she died on the table. Why she decided to tell me that, I have no idea.
What the heck?
And how does this honor our pups? Here's the kicker. She told me that she saw her dog when she died. She said it was only for a second, or I guess what felt like a second, but it was so tangible that when she came to, she could still feel his fur between her fingers.
Aww.
It made me cry. I heard about the Rainbow Bridge, but hearing that story, sorry, tearing up now. Okay, on that note, I'll end this here. Love you guys. Love the show. Love the group. Keep on creeping on. And it's funny because it has their name and then their extension and central scheduling.
Oh.
So they really did write this at work.
It's interesting that this got sent and we didn't read it until after our own doggo has passed. So.
Well, this was sent August 12th. So this got sent 13 days after our doggo passed away.
Okay.
So the episode, the Trauma Time episode, would have been out very recently when this was sent. So thank you so much for sending that. It's really, really scary to think about like hellhounds and like just these massive animals that could rip you apart. But then it's also nice to think about dogs in general because they are massive animals in a lot of cases.
Massive. I'm like looking at our dog that's like pint-sized right now.
I'm thinking of like if you were to say like, oh, I saw like a hellhound, and it's like, no, you saw a big black dog.
Oh,
it's like if you saw a big black dog, it would probably just like walk up and lick your face, like, you know, Beast from Sandlot. Because dogs are amazing and I love them. So thank you so much for sending that. All right, so before we move into our next stories, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
All right. Second half of this story time. Second half of the emails. All right. This next one is titled My Homegrown Story, and it's from Carla. Hello, Carla.
Hello.
They say hello. Hello.
Hello.
First, I want to say how much I love your podcasts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. Me and my husband discovered it while we were driving from CA, which is, I assume, California.
Probably.
To Chicago 5 years ago. Wow!
It's a long drive.
That's a long drive.
I've made that drive.
5 years ago. That's a long time ago, too. That's like, we just had our 5-year anniversary, so.
We did.
Ever since he has begged me to write to you guys about what happened to me when I was about 6 years old.
I'm already excited.
Yep. Let me start by giving you a little background about my family dynamics. My parents are both from Mexico, And when I was 3, they decided they wanted a better life for us, so we moved to Chicago. My dad used to work at the garbage dump. He would always bring me and my older brother toys and old Disney VHS movies. So I guess when people throw them out, you know,
Yeah, why not?
my dad would fucking do the same thing though.
Oh, yeah, for
where
sure.
he's like, hey, I found this. I'm taking it.
My friend's dad used to be like, oh, the best time to go find stuff is on garbage day. We call it junkin'. And they just drive around anything that wasn't in a garbage can that they could clearly see. They were just like, go take it.
Oh my
I thought it was
God.
interesting.
One day for my 6th birthday, he brought me a blue Smurf toy. I became pretty attached to it and I would play with it all the time. I remember getting annoyed because I would never find it where I left it last. I already don't like this. It
no.
obviously grew legs and walked off on its own.
I mean, it's a Smurf. Smurfs have legs.
Oh, yeah.
It's just obviously
It grew
inhabited by
sentience.
something and walked away.
I just assumed my mom had moved it. One day, me and my whole family, we went to the mall, and when we came back, my grandma from Mexico was calling, which was weird because back then, calls from Mexico were extremely expensive. She was absolutely hysterical, screaming at my parents, saying that I called them crying because they had left me alone in the house. Okay. Oh,
That's
I have
creepy.
chills.
That's so creepy.
So I have chills because apparently they're out at the mall. Grandma in Mexico gets a call from this person, Carla, you know, crying. But Carla's at the mall. Oh, that's so creepy. My parents explained to them that I was with them and they would never leave me alone. My grandma said that it sounded just like me. My parents were freaked out and didn't understand how that was possible. See, back then, we needed a calling card that you paid for to make a call to Mexico. After you typed in the numbers of the card, you also had to put in the phone number of the person you were calling. Now remember, I'm 6 years old. I didn't even know my grandparents' number. My parents sat me down and asked me to call my grandparents in front of them. When they realized that it wasn't me, they got freaked out and asked my older brother if he had done it. He also didn't know the number. Well, I remember a couple days went and I was upset because I couldn't find my blue Smurf. I asked my mom for it and she denied moving it. I eventually found it and started to play. Once it was bedtime, my mom took it away. This is the scary, freaky part. My mom also started to notice that the Smurf would move from where she would leave it. A couple more days went by and my mom was more freaked out because she would leave the Smurf in the living room at night when everybody was sleeping, and it would appear on the kitchen floor. We didn't have any pets.
Oh my God.
My dad told my mom she was just paranoid, so he decided that he would put it away this time, where it wouldn't be able to fall or move. Well, surprise, it moved. My dad said, fuck that, and they both decided to throw it away, anywhere near my house. A couple weeks later, I heard my parents having a conversation with my uncles about the mysterious Mexico call, and they all agreed that it was probably the Smurf that made that call. They told my parents that they should have burned the thing. Later that week, we saw the same Smurf in a garage sale while we were walking home.
Oh, fuck that.
Fuck that. I hope you guys liked my homegrown horror story. Sorry for the horrible grammar. You guys can totally put this on the podcast. Thank you so much, Carla, for your story. Yeah, haunted dolls and things like that are so terrifying. Definitely, don't ever want to touch one of those, you know? Like, imagine having a toy, thinking that it was haunted, and then seeing it again while you're walking down the street. You're like, fuck that.
There's a reason that thing got thrown out. Pretty obvious at that point. And it made its way to another family, and they were also trying to get rid of it. Yeah. So super fucking creepy. Or all Smurf dolls are haunted, and that was just another haunted one.
They're haunted by spirits of Smurfs.
Maybe they were looking for each other, and they're just like,
they're looking for their Smurfette.
Forever. Exactly. Either way, thank you so much, Carla, for sending us that story. It was super fucking creepy.
Yep.
All right, so on to the final story of this episode. This one's subject is lows and highs of loss, and it's from Dark Lord of Cats. Okay to read on the pod. Thank you so much. And it starts out like this. I sent you a funny story a while back of my buddy and I chasing down a UFO, only to find out the mothership was the local hospital. Well, here's another true story that's not as lighthearted. Awesome. Great way to end the show. Seriously, thank you for sending this to us, whatever is about to happen.
Oh, gosh.
Back in 2008, I was watching Constantine. Nice. And my cell phone began to ring. It was my mom, in parentheses it says stepmom. and I knew I didn't want to answer it deep down. I already knew what she was going to tell me. I picked it up because I knew I couldn't change what she was going to tell me, and I had to answer it and just face it head on. I knew by the sounds of my grandmother crying in the background and the quiver in her voice, I was right. My dad had died. It was cancer, and I had just gotten back to my apartment from visiting him. He had been doing well, but we knew that it was terminal. On the phone with her, all I could say was, okay. I tried to stand up, but my whole world went sideways and I crumpled into a ball hunched against the wall. I lived alone and had no boyfriend at the time. This is important because a few days later, I woke up to a voice memo on my phone. Not a voicemail, but a feature I used to use for groceries, books I found interesting, etc. The recordings would be filed by date and time. As I went to work, I could see that at 5 a.m., a new voice memo had been recorded. I played it, and to my surprise, I heard a static crackle and then a loud pop noise, followed by a deep man's voice that said, I love you, bear. Again, the static noise followed by the loud pop. 3 guesses what my dad's nickname for me was.
I'm assuming it was Bear.
Right. This only happened one more time when my life seemed to be in a tailspin, again with the crackle snap, followed by good luck. Only this time it sounded like it was sped up.
Chills.
I decided to get a new phone for fear of losing those recordings. The phone now sits in a box in my basement. I feel I should point out the static and pop sound only occurred on those recordings, none of the ones prior or any of my test recordings after. My stepmom, a staunch atheist, got her own sign from him. The field in front of her house was filled with honeysuckle, her favorite flower, and one of the few things she can smell. My grandma was followed around the farm by an albino red-tailed hawk that would follow her on daily tasks and watch over her. Sorry it's so long, you don't have to read this, but loss is always hard. I still don't know where I stand on all this, I just know what I've experienced, / made my friends listen to 100 plus times, that's hilarious. I had an amazing experience after my grandma passed that I'd happily share if you're interested. Of course we are. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
It's not as definitive as a recording, but I was able to tell my family things I could not have known otherwise. Anyways, keep up the good work. We appreciate it. And as a voice recording once told me, good luck.
Aw, that's so nice.
That's really good.
This story gave me chills because if I had something like that, that would be something that both would creep me out, but it's like, wow.
I'd be like, that's so sweet and horrifying, but so sweet because I would be creeped out too.
What is that one movie where that happens? Frequency?
No.
Where he gets messages from his dad?
Wait, that's not what happens. In Frequency, he gets messages from his dad through the radio, but it's like the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights are going on over the city that hasn't happened for a long time. The last time it happened was right before his dad passed away.
Okay.
And because they're broadcasting their signal up into the Northern Lights, for some reason, he can talk to his dad in the past. It's not like a voice memo that was left for him. He's literally speaking to his dad.
Okay.
If you've never seen Frequency, that is a wonderful, amazing movie. It has Dennis Quaid and Jim Caviezel, and they're both fantastic in it. So I would highly recommend checking it out.
Who's Jim Caviezel?
Jim Caviezel is the main character from Frequency. He's also Jesus in the Mel Gibson Jesus torture movie. I forget the name of it. The Passion of the Christ.
Oh my God.
That's Jim Caviezel. He's also Edmond Dantes in The Count of Monte Cristo, which is one of my favorite movies.
Okay, give me something I know. Is it from
can't.
CSI?
No, he's not in any of those shitty shows. So
okay.
If I show him to you, you'll be like, oh, he's in, and then you'll name off something that I've never heard or seen. So, but yeah, this was a really, really nice email, and it's always nice to hear of things where people get to see signs to let them know they're being looked after, or at least thought of.
Right.
And it's something that brings people peace. So thank you so much for sending this to us.
Thank you so much, the Dark Lord of Cats.
Indeed. And I think that's just about everything for this episode of Storytime, episode 193. It's been a while since we did one. This is the first one we haven't done live. But we, wanted to do a show. We weren't going to have time to do any sort of research because we are in the middle of moving.
Literally, there's nothing in this room except a couple pieces of furniture.
Yeah. And so we're really excited.
Ghostbusters magnet.
Yeah. It's a bottle opener and a magnet. We're really excited to be in the same room again. And once we have our new place set up, hopefully we can start doing more story times again. We do have a little bit of a backlog again, so we can do a few episodes here. And then if we can start getting more in the email inbox again.
Yeah, so please send us your stories.
Absolutely. Email storytime@scarish.com or go to our website, scarish.com. Click on Contact Us and fill out a form, and it comes directly to us. In fact, I think 3 of the 4 that we got actually came off the website, so it's still working, and we appreciate anyone who goes there and sends it that way. Or you can hit us up on our social medias. Facebook is facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Twitter is @scarishpod, at least for now until it burns to the ground. And Instagram is @scarishpodcast. We would love to hear from you however we can. And yeah, if you guys would like to donate to us, Robin's about to tell you how you can do that.
You can go to patreon.com/scaryishpodcast. Those are monthly donations. Tiers start at $1. I just got in the stickers and magnets to end this year's Patreon rewards. So if you want your hands on those, go ahead, head over to Patreon. You can also go to ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast, and those are one-time donations. All your donations go to just keeping this show going, helping us keep sane through all of this craziness.
Money, keep us sane, send money. Yeah, for sure. And we appreciate all the support that we get from you folks. It's truly amazing. And it's holiday season, which can be rough for folks. I totally understand that. So we hope that if you can listen to our shows and that brings you any sort of like comfort, you do, because it's something that's out there and we get a lot of people telling us that they really enjoy listening to it. I can tell you, like, I was packing a lot of stuff in this house and I did some of it alone because Robin's packing her stuff out in California. And I was just like, all right, like, I'm pretty sad right now. Like, this is the end of an era, the beginning of a new one. And I was just kind of bummed out. So I was like, I'm just going to put on the McElroys. They're my go-to and they're my like sad time podcast. So I've listened to like 20 episodes of Adventure Zone. So trust me, I get it. And it's really nice to hear that in some way, shape, or form, we can provide that for you guys too. So that said, that's everything for this episode of Storytime. So Robin, why don't you go ahead and sign us out?
Keep on creeping on and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.